Hey everyone, this is Eli, and welcome back to the Athlete Recruitment Code. Today's episode is special because we're talking to someone who beat the odds, created his own opportunities, and rewrote what was possible, all the way to Stanford football. My good friend and phenomenal athlete, Coco Lukrich, is here with us today. How's it going, Coco?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Eli. Appreciate you.
And I'm just going to state this right off the bat. Coco's super humble, so I'm going to go through and rip through all his some of his accomplishments. I know that he's probably not going to share them if I don't get to them. So now Coco is one of the most inspiring people I know. He's a true model for what it looks like to navigate adversity, stay disciplined, and how to achieve your dreams. So before Stanford, Coco dominated at Park City High School in Utah, where he basically earned every honor you can imagine. Two-time All-State, three-time All-League, twice offensive line league MVP, and even defensive line MVP early in his career. And on top of that, he competed in track, lacrosse, and earned high honor roll every single quarter of high school. So Coco also comes from a huge football family. His dad played football and rugby at Cal, and his brother Joey played football at Drake. And now this thing blows me away. Coco became the only FBS football player to ever come out of Park City High School. So that's amazing. He's just created such a great legacy. And then what stands out even more than the stats is honestly who he is. Grounded, thoughtful, resilient, someone who's constantly growing. His journey at Stanford, the challenges he faced there, and his transformation that he's gone through makes him one of the most genuine examples of what this entire conversation is going to be about. So with that, I'm thrilled to welcome my friend Coco Lukrich. Did I miss anything?
That was really nice of you. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No,
And thank
yeah.
you
So
for
we're going to
having
get into some special stuff today. And Coco doesn't know this, but what I wanted to do and share with all of you guys is a fun little video. Let me pull that up. You see my screen?
me. Yeah.
I started playing football when I was about 8 years old, played in high school. Football kind of just started as another way to spend time with my friends, but it quickly developed into something I love to do. Thanks to my friends and family, I started training at a young age, getting in the gym, and that's what helped me excel at the sport. My sophomore year of high school, I released my first highlight tape just to update my friends and family with how I was doing on the football field and how the season was going. I posted that highlight tape to Twitter, and it gained a lot of traction. College coaches started following me, and I received my first offer sophomore year. Through the recruiting process, I always made sure to have a list of priorities, and academics were always at the top of that list. And that's when Stanford came into play. Stanford's perfect balance of academics and a great football program is what made it my dream school. This signing day represents all the hard work I've put in over the last 10 years and also serves as a tribute to everyone who's helped me along the way. Go Card.
Wow. I don't know if I've ever watched that all the way through.
Where's always the flow, bro?
I know, dude. I gotta get it back. That's hilarious.
Man, that's awesome. I know that gave me goosebumps. Just the and like the music, it's
I
like
know. They did a good job editing that thing.
it's awesome. So yeah, I mean, today I think like your story is just such a big testament of what you've accomplished. And can you just kind of quickly walk us through your recruiting journey from Park City to Stanford, and ultimately what helped you stand out to college coaches?
Yeah, so that stat you listed, the first FBS or the only FBS player to come out of Park City, that's changed. Um, It's sort of the Park City recruiting has picked up a lot since then, which is awesome. But yeah, at the time, I was there. There wasn't an FBS football player who had come out of Park City. So it was kind of tough. As you listen to that video, I sort of my sophomore year of high school, I wasn't really thinking about college sports at all. Like I said, I was kind of just playing football because I was born into a huge football family. Ton of my friends were on the team. And my sophomore year, I just posted my highlight tape, sort of just to update my friends and family. And Twitter is like I don't know how it is for other sports, but for football, Twitter is kind of the platform you use for recruiting, just because it's more unregulated than more formal vehicles like texting and calling. Um, and I threw it up on Twitter and gained a ton of traction. Got a bunch of college coaches following me, um, and received my first offer that summer going into my junior year. And then again, a lot of just a disclaimer. Most of the stuff is going to apply mostly to football. I don't know how it is with other sports, but after that first offer, the floodgates kind of open. I feel like in football, when you see a kid get an offer, you kind of just hop on the train and trust the other coaches who've offered him. Um, and so yeah, I ended up with I think 27 scholarship offers by the end of senior year. Um, Ended up choosing Stanford. I love the staff. Like I said in that video, academics were always a priority to me, and it really is just I think the best combination of academics and athletics. And yeah, that's sort of how I ended up at Stanford. So
Dude, that's awesome. So I'm sure you had momentum that you were building into that, like that moment in your sophomore year. It didn't just spawn, like you said, it's years and years of hard work and consistency and committing to a system that works. Did you have any like mentors along the process or anybody who really like helped push you through to keep you on track while you were moving forward?
yeah, I think my older brother, deserves a lot of credit. He's 25, so he's 3 years older than me. Um, and he went. I mean, I feel like older brothers just kind of take the brunt of everything for you, and you can kind of just follow in their path and do things a little better than they did because they they made all the mistakes for you. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I not very many people know this, but I was actually thinking about quitting football after my freshman year, just because I felt like it was kind of turning into a chore. Um, but my brother kept me on track. He said, "There's no way you're stopping this. Like, you're very good at football. You know, you're gonna miss your friends." And he's the one who initially got me into the gym when I was 12 years old. So he's the one who got me on training. He's the one who kept me playing football. And then he played football himself in college. So I think my brother deserves a lot of credit for my success.
No, that's awesome. Having someone to push you is always like the best way to go about staying on track and staying motivated, especially when they've done it and they're
Right.
constantly doing it themselves too. You know, like he's playing football, you want to keep playing football, but it's one thing when someone is playing football or has played football and they're telling you what to do and you're like, yeah, 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 I get it. Like, but when they're actually doing it, like that's motivating, that's inspiring. So that's awesome. I guess like another thing is you got an awesome opportunity in your sophomore year. But I'm sure you had a lot of friends and especially other people in the football community who don't get that opportunity early on and they maybe get it later, like their junior year or their senior year.
Hmm.
That can be scary, the unknown of like, oh my gosh, like I keep going, but that timeline is collapsing and I have to keep pushing and you don't know if you're gonna make it or you're not gonna make it. You have all these like internal and external fears. So how have you noticed either yourself, how you kind of navigated that, or with other people, how they can kind of stick with it, trust the system, and achieve their dreams of playing, football in college?
Yeah. I mean, I was definitely lucky to gain traction early on, which gave me sort of the optionality and I could analyze the schools that were offering me the staffs, the academics more. Um, but I think you gotta just stick to the process. You know, it sounds cliche, but you really do just have to fall in love with the process and really, this is yeah. I mean, you can't look at the end goal as getting an offer and playing football in college. You gotta live in the moment. You gotta enjoy what you're doing, um, and just stick to it. I think that's what I'm most grateful for with my football career is gaining that discipline because now I can apply it to the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Um, so I think you just have to get into routine, um, make sure you stay on top of your school, your training, and focus on the journey, not the destination. So
Yeah, that's super powerful. And I think this is going to get to something that I also wanted to ask you about, which is, you know, a lot of people look at, the final destination is getting that acceptance letter, being able to wear, you know, the team logo on your jersey. But that's only like the first step of the process, getting there. and there's a lot more to go. And so, how does having that perspective kind of change, you know, whether it's getting recruited or even after you get recruited? Like, this is only the first step in the journey. So, hopefully, you can share some stories or thoughts about that kind of mindset around the recruiting process and more about development and, the routine and the process and finding a system that actually works for you so you can be successful no matter what opportunities come your way.
For sure. Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of this is gonna go back to just being disciplined, and it's definitely easier said than done. But yeah, no, what you said is definitely true. Like even now, post football, same thing goes for job promotion. Like you get to throw your sure you get a job at a big company, um, and you get to throw it on LinkedIn, and you think like that's the end all be all. But what you overlook a lot of the time is the 80-hour weeks you're gonna have to work for that job. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think especially with NIL and how flashy and sexy sports are getting in high school, I think a lot of the hard work is being overlooked once you get to that school. Um,
And can
because
you,
it's not. I mean, it's not an easy thing. Like
yeah, and
you're
maybe talk a little bit more about like there's more things you have to balance in football when you're at school. So, like, what did
yeah.
that look like for you? Like, what were you balancing while you were at school? And was that a shock, or were you kind of prepared for it? And how did you kind of evolve throughout your journey?
Yeah. There to answer that question, in a direct way, there are many more things you got to balance other than football. I think especially at a high academic school like Stanford, um, obviously, for the administration, academics priority over sports. So you're not getting cut slack by your teachers or the administration for missing class for practice or for games. So you really just got to get your work done and figure it out. And that's something I'm really grateful for now that I've started work is you really just have to be a problem solver and get your stuff done despite maybe the unfair deadline based on your athletic schedule. That doesn't even mention the social life that you have to. I mean, if you want one, you gotta make time for that as well. So, I mean, with all that combined with class, practice, training, and then having a social life, your days are 18 hours and packed. So, um,
100%. That's crazy. And maybe this is a little bit of a rewind, but how did academics factor into your recruiting process? And what do you think athletes misunderstand about the academic side of becoming recruitable? And has that become a lever that you use during your process to gain more traction?
yeah, definitely. I think the amount of players who are able to get into these high academic schools is shrinking every year because, like I said, the sport is getting so flashy and so much of the time and effort is being placed on the sport itself and training. But at the end of the day, if you can't get into school, you're not going to be able to play football. And we actually had a few guys in our class who committed to the school and then were rejected by admissions. So, you really have to use that same discipline that you learn in your sport and apply it to academics. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to play.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I think people like don't think about that you can commit to a school, get
Yeah,
recruited, and then like not get admitted. Like, and that's their whole like vision is like I just have to get recruited. Like I need to put in more effort in the gym and on the field to get like, my highlight tapes better and stuff too, get all my stats good, and now I'm recruitable. But like that's only one, facet of getting recruited. And if you don't understand that, then even if you do get your dream offer, you might not even be able to get in.
right.
So super, super fascinating. So now, not a lot of people know this about you, but I know that you faced some serious injuries at Stanford, and those completely, you know, shaped your experiences, shaped your mindset, changed your confidence, and your perspective completely changed on football and in life. So can you give like a little bit of background about that journey and, how you navigated that and what you became on the other side of it?
Definitely. Yeah, so I actually was only able to play for about a year and a half. I went through some nerve and some head and neck injuries that ended up in nerve damage. Um, and so yeah, I had to medically retire after my sophomore season, which definitely threw a wrench in my plans. I had to pivot quickly from football to career development after school. And yeah, I mean, looking back in hindsight, I'm really grateful for it. I think having 2 years of football and 2 years of a traditional college experience was something that was really just a blessing because I was able to meet a ton of new people, interesting people. You know, being at Stanford, everybody is has something crazy going for them, something super interesting about them. So I was able to make a ton of friends outside of the team. And then beyond that, I think, let's say, let me pull up my notes. You can edit this part out.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, so I think medically retiring early from my sport sort of gave me an identity crisis that most people don't have until they're, in their 30s or 40s. Because I mean, I chose Stanford because of the academics and because of that sort of backup plan if football didn't work out. But in reality, I was still set on making it to the NFL and that sort of being my career. But yeah, this sort of expedited that crisis, and I was sort of forced to make a decision. Either I feel sorry for myself and drop everything, or I channel that energy that I spent on football for the past 20 years and channel that into career development and making relationships that are going to last. And so I channeled that into real estate, which is what I'm doing now. I'm working at a real estate investment bank. And I think all the lessons I learned through football, I'm now applying to work and to creating lasting relationships in my career. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. And like it's people don't understand this to the level at which they should, but athletics builds a foundation that you can apply into any sort of challenge or opportunity in your life. And especially as you continue to build that momentum and you compound, what you're learning, you can apply that to so many sort of, opportunities. So getting into college is like, the first step. But beyond that, there's so many opportunities that people have, whether it's playing professionally, career development, or whatnot, or even just like you said, building relationships and networking. That if you can channel that and like what you learn, that foundation, it becomes so powerful and honestly becomes so transformative. So that's amazing. And so to finish it off, let's get into one thing that all the parents watching this are probably going to want to know. What advice would you give to other high school athletes and their parents who are trying to navigate the football recruiting process today?
yeah. I think starting off with advice to the parents, I see too many, at least growing up in a city like Park City, I see too many parents, becoming too involved and turning sports into a job in high school. And I think that's the worst thing you can do. Because when you lose your love for your sport, you're not going to perform and you're not going to enjoy it. So I think there's a fine line um, between helping your kid out and getting them tutors, getting them trainers, but also being hands off enough to the point where it doesn't turn into a job or feel like a chore. And then more for the student athletes, I think it always comes back to discipline, but it's really all you have. You need to find a routine that works for you. You need to stick to your training, and like I said earlier, you can't focus on the destination. You really got to enjoy the grind. It sounds cliche, but you really do. If you can't fall in love with going to the gym every day, training, getting better every day, then you're not gonna perform and you're not gonna be able to play in college because that's what it is at the end of the day. Like you were saying earlier, it's great to get that logo on your chest to put an Ivy League school on your LinkedIn. But once you get there, it's not it's not sunshine and rainbows. Like it's a lot of hard work. So if you can't enjoy the work for what it is, and you know, and not just focus on the games making a big play, then you're not going to be able to last. So I think, developing that discipline early on, getting in the gym, I think that's another thing. The main reason I was good at football is because I started lifting when I was 12 years old. And I think the gym really teaches you delayed gratification early on. Um, you're not going to see results in the gym for, the next day. You're gonna see them months, weeks, years down the line. So I think just getting in the gym early, um, you don't see it materialize right away. So I think it really teaches you a lot of lessons.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's amazing. Especially, I love what you said about the personalization of your discipline and your routine. Not everyone has the same, you can't use the same cookie cutter framework for everyone. They have their own, and also everyone starts at different points. So you can't feel like, stress out or anxious or be comparing yourself to someone else. But then also that delayed gratification. Oh, that's like so important because it's not only in the gym, that's also in the classroom. You know,
yeah,
you can't just like assume to show up and then just, get the good grades or get the good test scores. And that's also with your relationships. Like with your, anyone who you're talking to and your network and your peers, your friends, your family, everyone, like those are all things that you have to constantly be building and finding systems that work for you so that it becomes like a connective fabric where everything, starts getting better because you're focusing, no matter what you're focusing on, eventually like you start growing exponentially rather than just like linearly. So that's fantastic. Well, everyone, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please subscribe below, listen in for other awesome conversations like the one today with Coco, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
thanks for having me, Eli.